Hello everyone, welcome to the 6th video in this series where I'll show you how to make this Dark Souls 3 inspired environment in Blender. So this is where we are currently at. Just a note, a few things that I did off recording. I added this second kind of middle arch area here at the back and I changed it a bit. I just remodeled the whole thing and just kind of changed the shape a bit, replaced the bricks, made it look a little bit different. And I did a similar thing up here. I just added these small bricks to the top, and I also kind of put everything into the correct collection so I can see what is what a bit easier. And in this video I want to focus on a couple bits at the front here which I don't think looks so good at the moment, like there's random cubes here. Kind of want to make them look a bit more like ledges, and they're going to be kind of triangular coming out the front then going back down and have some cool patterns on the bottom. And I'll just duplicate that here and here. And then also I want to kind of change these front bits and the staircase. We're going to do that in this video as well. So I'm going to start with the staircase, and I think what I want to do for these stairs is kind of use the same technique I did for the bricks up here and down here with the arches. So I'm going to make a bunch of, essentially turn these all into cubes first, and then I can start adding the bevel and all those things to make it look a bit more natural. So I'm going to start doing that now. Okay, so now that I've added all the bevels and filled the faces for each of these blocks here, I am going to firstly increase the bevel amount, because right now it's pretty small, or it's pretty big, I mean, so maybe something a bit more like that, just quickly shade it smooth. I'm going to apply that same thing to the rest of our meshes, and shade smooth. That looks pretty nice. And of course, same thing as usual, let's hide everything, make sure all the objects have their origin set to their own geometry, apply scale, rotation, and now go to object, transform, randomize. Let's see what happens with each of these again. So the X will move a little bit, maybe not too much because I don't want too many big gaps between each brick. Then the Y is moving it forwards and backwards, so again maybe just like the smallest amount, just something like, I'm trying to get it perfect, doesn't have to be perfect but just something like that. Then Z is up and down, so this we can move a little bit more. I'm still not going to do it too much though, because otherwise it just looks, we get everything being weird and floating. So I'm going to leave that at just double the amount out of 1. Now let's see what happens if we rotate this. Yeah, it's gone forwards and backwards, so let's do it a little bit. Maybe something just about 2 seems good. Okay, I'm happy with this. And obviously there's a few gaps that you can kind of see through, and that's going to be okay, we'll fix that later. But for now, just want to kind of find anywhere where there's overlapping geometry and just fix that a bit. Maybe move it up, that should be okay, maybe scale it in a little bit. It actually shouldn't be too bad anyway, because it's not like the faces are perfectly overlapping. Like if I do this, eventually it will get to a point, if they're perfectly in place, their render is going to kind of fight to render both faces at the same time. But I don't think we've got any problems like that anywhere here. I'm not too worried about having any flickering. And if I do see that in the render, it's going to be a quick fix to kind of stop that from happening. But now the stairs already look a little bit more interesting. I might even go through and just delete 1 or 2 just here and there. Maybe I'll leave the top ones because they're kind of covering the top section of it. I'll bring this out so you can't actually see underneath this plane here, and that way we won't need to kind of bother with actually building anything down here. Cool. Now that works out better because you can't actually see that this is just a floating plane with nothing underneath it, because the bricks are in the way. I'm gonna go ahead and delete maybe this one and maybe this one since it's a bit in the way. It looks nice. Maybe bring some of these over now that they're slightly damaged. They've got big holes, maybe just bring this one over. Now for these gaps, what I'm just going to do is add a simple plane again. It's going to be really hard to really see anything back here or see the plane underneath because you can only really see it at certain points. So I think all I have to really do is just add a simple texture to this plane. going to drag it back a bit further so you definitely can't see the gap at any point from the camera. So let's actually drag it up a little bit as well, and yep, now the camera can't actually see that there's a plane down here. And once we texture it, it should look a bit better. And even if it doesn't look very good, we could even add a kind of displacement to this plane here and kind of bring parts up a bit to match the underneath of the dirt, underneath of the bricks here. So it looks like the bricks are actually sitting on the ground, and with the displacement map, it's going to make it look all kind of messy and dirty in here and a bit more realistic. And I also might add those plants kind of coming up, plants and grass and stuff, same coming through these little open cracks here, so it's going to look a lot better later, but for now that will do perfectly fine. I think this brick might be causing a bit of flickering, so I'll move it down, shift it across a bit, maybe scale it that way. I think that's going to work a lot better now. I'm not seeing that anywhere else just yet, maybe this one. For now I'm happy with this. When I add textures later and lighting and stuff, it's going to be a lot easier to see if any of these faces are kind of overlapping each other, but for now this looks good. I haven't decided yet if I want to kind of add subdivision and sculpt everything. I might do that, but I think if I do end up doing that, I'll probably do it off camera because it will be exactly the same technique that I did with these stones up here, or these bricks, and these same ones down here. It's just going to be cutting off the edge a bit, and then afterwards I'll probably add the decimate modifier to make sure we don't have too many faces here. Might do that afterwards. I will say in the next video if I end up doing that. I'm just gonna notice this brick here as well, move that over a bit. Maybe I'm being a bit too perfect here, but it's nice to just know it won't cause problems later on. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm just going to quickly do this section up here, and to make sure I'm going to build right in between these 2 points, I'll quickly put my 3D cursor here so I can just place an object in the middle here. I am using a reference for this as well. This is not from Dark Souls 3, this is just a random picture of like a temple. I'm just going to try and kind of build it and make it look as similar to the reference as possible. I am at this point just kind of making my own design a little bit because the one in the reference is a little hard to see and it looks very very detailed, more than I'm kind of trying to go for in this render here. I am going for a realistic view, but it would take a really long time and a lot of sculpting and detail to kind of make it look so perfect. So I'm happy with this kind of look. It's a sort of interesting shape, and I kind of like how it looks when I add the subdivision modifier. I'm gonna quickly see what it looks like with a bevel first though. Yeah, I think it actually just looks better with just the subdivision. So I'm also going to push it out a bit so it's nicely lined up with the back here. Just add that. So if I add the subdivision now, we get this kind of look. I might just add a few supporting edge loops in some places to kind of make the bits I want to be a bit stronger, just a little bit more held up. And this is another object that I'm going to be duplicating across to both sides. So I kind of like that it's high poly right now, because I can do some sculpting and make them each look a little bit different to one another. Okay, so again, this is very high poly now, but well, it's not very high poly, but it's kind of higher level of faces than I wanted to have originally. But again, I'm going to do some edits on this later. So for now, that's a lot more interesting than just the basic kind of random plank thing we've got coming along here. So I'm just going to duplicate that and add it on both sides here. It's obviously way too big on this side and that side, but it doesn't really matter too much. The only part I might go back and change is this corner part here, which I will do later, unless I need it on this side as well. Yeah, I kind of do. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'll do that now. It's going to take a little bit of editing, but that's very possible to fix. I kind of want the cutoff point to be here, so I don't want this part to be sticking out, and same on this side. Okay, so that was fairly simple to do. Now I'm just going to grab this guy and bring him over here. There we have a nice bit of detail on both sides. I'm just going to do one more thing though. I kind of want this ledge to be right in between the object above and the object below. So what I'm going to do is just kind of measure it. I'm also going to grab both these faces because I know I'm going to have to bring the whole thing up. So everything I've got selected here, I'll just drag it up kind of to this point, I would say. And grab this guy again, drag it back down. I think that looks a lot better now. So same thing over here. I think that looks a lot better than what we had before. For these sections down here, I'm not too sure what I want to do for the design yet, so I'm probably just going to have a play around and I'll speed up the footage a lot until I get something I like. I think I still want to keep the idea of having two torches here. I think that would look really nice in the render as the camera kind of goes in between the flames and looks down the big hallway there. I'm probably going to work on that just for now and see how it goes. So I found a reference online that I like the look of. I'm going to kind of try and style it off of. It kind of goes to a square at the top and then has a little bowl of fire sitting on top of it, so I'm going to try and model this now as well as I can. Okay, so I think I like how this looks, especially after a bit of texturing. I think it's going to look a lot better, but for now this is fine. I'm going to add a bevel because I think I get the feeling a bevel might mess up the shading a little bit. Oh no, it's turned out fine here. While I'm here, I'll quickly add that here as well. I might actually, instead of adding just a standard bevel, do this one myself a little bit. So these guys in here selected, these ones, this one. These are the edges I want to be a bit sharper. Then I can shade smooth. Cool. We have a nice little kind of bowl here for the flames to fire up from, which we're going to do a bit later. Some kind of cool VFX stuff. I'm just going to add edges here. So I think these faces are kind of a bit awkward at the moment. Yeah, that seems to make everything look a bit nicer. If I want to as well, I can have it leading straight into the middle. There, that looks okay. So now it's just a thing of mirroring it across. Okay, I think that looks a lot better than what we had before. So I'm just going to quickly show you one thing that I'll do with this pillar here. I know this video might be a bit long now, but this will be the last thing I'll do. I'm just going to make a duplicate to show how I'm going to work on these areas. I'm just going to make this a new collection and call it save, or I'm going to even call it test, as this is what I'll kind of use here. I'll apply the mirror to everything. Actually, I'll take it off for now, just so I can focus on one object. Delete all these guys and hide everything else. Obviously I don't have anything applied here right now. What I would firstly do is I'm just going to add a bevel and see how it kind of works out if I add that. Or I might not, because I kind of want to add more details. So I have a subdivision surface modifier. What I want to do as well is kind of go through and bevel the specific areas that I want to stay sharp. I won't do that just yet because that'll make this video very, very long. Get like a nice kind of sharp angles like this, like I did before. And then once I've done that, let's just apply this for now. If I just grab a cube and drag it somewhere like up here, make it a lot bigger, then maybe add some subdivisions to it. could then just make this whole cube a lot more of like a weird shape. If I go to displace and go to texture and say clouds usually looks quite good. If I go here and kind of turn the strength up a little bit, then also add a cast because I want it to be a bit more of like a sphere, a bit more like that. Then sometimes I also add a simple deform. I kind of stack them on top of each other a bit using different methods, and it ends up creating just this weird kind of shape, which is exactly what I'm going for. So I can then do this again, scale it down a bit. Might even want to grab one of the vertexes, press O for proportional editing, move everything a bit around. You can even use the random mode to kind of make everything shift the vertexes about even more. Now I'm just going to grab them again and smooth them out a bit, and we get this odd kind of shape, and that's exactly what I wanted to get. Let's see what happens if I use space as well. That's not really worked. So if I put this here and then we select this guy, we can go Boolean and select the stone, apply that, get rid of that. We end up with this kind of look, and my idea is that I'm going to have a different material on the pillar here that I'll actually go through and create probably quite soon, because I need to have the same UV unwrapping already done for all the pillars. And then up here where the new faces are, I'm just going to put a secondary material on this pillar, and that can be like the damaged pillar kind of material, so that won't need to worry too much about UV editing. I can just go up here and just make it really simple like it is now, but probably just something, yeah, like that probably works out fine. And if I do that differently for each pillar, it's going to create a lot more differentiation. I'll quickly hide that and bring everything back, because right now, as I've mentioned, everything looks very, very perfect. I'm probably going to do that off camera because that's going to take a very long time. So just to kind of recap, I'm just going to bevel the edges that I want to be sharp. Then I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Probably one level is enough for this. Maybe two, I'll have to test around with that. But once I've UV unwrapped it and added the bevels and added the subdivision modifier, I can then just go through and add those damages differently to each pillar. Some of them I might like pull in or backwards or move to the side a little bit. I might even just completely get rid of some. I might, I don't know, later on have one kind of falling through the middle that's just collapsed onto the floor, because that'll make it look quite cool and very old and damaged, and that will also kind of cover up this big hole here, which I haven't decided what I want to be out there yet. So that's really going to help out there. And after that, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing with these little arches here. Just break a couple of bricks, make it look like it's falling apart, make them all look very different, because again, right now they're all the same. I'm going to do this off camera because it's going to be a very long process. I think that's it for this video. I think that's everything I wanted to do. Maybe I'll do the first one on camera just so you can see what the process is like, and I will add that in either to this video or the next one. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.